Eliphaz, chapter 22. Then Eliphaz the Temanite replied, can a man be benefited to God? Can even a wise person benefit him? What pleasures would it give the Almighty if you were righteous? What would he gain if your ways were blameless? Is it for your piety that he rebukes you and brings charges against you? Is not your wickedness great? Are not your sins endless? You demanded secretly from your relatives for no reason. You stripped people of their clothing, leaving them naked. You gave no water to the weary, and you withheld food from the hungry. Then you were a powerful man owning land, an honored man living on it, and you sent widows away empty-handed and broke the strength of the fatherless. That is why snares are all around you, why sudden peril terrifies you, why it is so dark you cannot see, and why a flood of water covers you. Is not God in the height of heaven, and see how lofty are the highest stars? And you say, what does God knows? Does he judge through such darkness? Thick clouds veil him, so he does not see us as he goes about in the vaulted heavens. Will you keep to the hold fast that the wicked have trod? They were carried off before their times. Their foundations washed away by a flood. They said to God, leave us alone. What can the Almighty do to us? Yet it was He who filled their houses with good things. So I stand aloof from the plans of the wicked. The righteous see their ruin and rejoice. The innocent mock them, saying, surely our foes are destroyed, and the fire devours their wealth. Submit to God and be at peace with Him. In this way, prosperity will come to you. Accept instruction from His mouth and lay up His words in your heart. If you return to the Almighty, you will be restored. If you remove wickedness far from your tent, and assign your noset to the dust, your gold of Ophir to the rocks in the ravines, then the Almighty will be your gold, the choicest silver for you. Sure, then you will find delight in the Almighty and will lift up your face to God. You will pray to Him, and He will hear you, and will fulfill your vows. When you decide on will be done, and light will shine on your ways. When people are brought low and you stay, lift them up. Then He will save the downcast. He will deliver even one who is not innocent, who will be delivered through the cleanness of your hands. Then Job replied, even today my complaint is bitter. His hand is heavy in spite of my groaning. If only I knew where to find him, if only I could go to his dwelling, I would state my case before him and fill my mouth with argument. I would find out what he would answer me and consider what he would say to me. Would he vigorously oppose me, though he would not press charges against me? There the upright can establish their innocence before him, and there I would be delivered forever from my judge. But if I go to the east, he is not there. If I go to the west, I do not find him. When he is at work in the north, I do not see him. When he turns to the south, I catch no glimpse of him. But he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I will come forth as gold. My feet have closely followed his steps. I have kept to his ways without turning aside. I have not departed from the commands of his lips. I have treasured the words of his mouth more than my daily bread. But he stands alone, and who can oppose him? He does whatever he pleases. He carries out his decrees against me, and many such plans he still has in store. That is why I am terrified before him. When I think of all this, I fear him. God has made my heart faint. The Almighty has terrified me. Yet I am not silenced by the darkness, by the thick darkness that covers my face. Chapter 24. Why does the Almighty not set times for judgment? Why must those who know Him look in vain for such days? There are those who move boundary stones, they pastures flocks they have stolen. They drive away the orphan's donkey and take the widow's ox in place. They thrust the need from the past and force all the poor of the land into hiding. Like wild donkeys in the desert, the poor go about their labors of raising food. The wasteland provides food for their children. They gather fodder and the field and the grain in the vineyards of the wicked. Lacking clothes, they spend the night naked. They have nothing to cover themselves in the cold. They are drenched by mountain rains and hug the rocks for lack of shelter. The fatherless child is snatched from the breast. The infant of the poor is seized for death. Lacking clothes, they go about naked. They carry the sheaves, but still go hungry. They crush olives among the terraces. They retreat the wine presses, yet suffer thirsty. The groans of the dying rises from the city, and the souls of those wounded cry out for help. But God charges no one with wrongdoing. There are those who rebel against the light. Why do not know it was its way, or stay in its place? When daylight is gone, the murderers rise up, kills the poor and the needy, and in the night steals forth like a thief. The eye of the adulterer watches for dusk. He thinks, no eye will see me. And he keeps his face concealed in the darkness. Thieves break into houses, but by day they shut themselves in. They want nothing to do with the light. For all of them, midnight is their morning. They make plans with the terrors of darkness. Yet they are formed on the surface of the water. Their portion of the land is cursed, so that no one goes to the vineyard as a hot heat and drought snatch away the melted snow. So the grave snatches away those who have sinned. The womb forgets them, the worm feasts on them. The wicked are no longer remembered, but are broken like a tree. They prey on the barren and the childless woman, and to the widows they show no kindness. But God drags away the mighty by his power. Though they become established, they have no assurance of life. He may let them rest in a feeling of security, but his eyes are on their ways. For a little while they are exalted, and then they are gone. They are brought low and gathered unlike all others. They are cut off like heads of grain. If this is not so, who can prove me false and reduce my words to nothing? Bildad, chapter 25. Then Bildad the Shuhite replied, dominion and all belong to God. He established order in the heights of heaven. Can his forces be numbered? On whom does his light not rise? How then can a mortal be righteous before God? How can one born of a woman be pure? If even the moon is not bright and the stars are not pure in his eyes, how much less a mortal who is but a maggot, a human being who is only a worm? 됐다. Yup. Chapter 26. Then Job replied, "How you have helped the powerless? How you have saved the arm that is feeble? What advice you have offered to one without wisdom? And what great insight you have displayed? Who has helped you utter these words, and whose spirit spoke from your mouth? The dead are in deep anguish, those beneath the waters and all that live in them. The lamb of the dead is naked before him, destruction lies uncovered. He spreads out the northern skies over empty space. He suspends the earth over nothing. He laps up the waters in his clouds, yet the clouds do not burst under their weight. He covers the face of the full moon, spreading his clouds over it. He marks out the horizon on the face of the waters, for wandering between light and darkness. The pillars of the heavens quake aghast at his rebuke. By his power he churned up the sea. By his wisdom he cut Rahab to pieces. By his breath the skies became pale. His hand pierced the gliding serpent. And these are but the outer fringe of his work. How faint the whisper we hear of him! Who then can understand the thunder of his powers? Job's final word to his friends. Chapter 27. And Job continued his discourse. As sure as God lives, who has denied me justice? The Almighty, who has made my life very bitter. As long as I have lived life within me, the breath of God in my nostrils, my lips will not say anything wicked, and my tongue will not utter lies. I'll never admit you are in the light. Till I die, I will not deny my integrity. I will maintain my innocence and never let go of it. My conscience will not reproach me as long as I live. May my enemy be like the wicked, my adversary like the unjust, for what hope have the godless when they are cut off? When God takes away their life, does God listen to their cry? When distress come upon them, will they find delight in the Almighty? Will they call on God at all times? I'll teach you about the power of God, the ways of the Almighty I will not conceal. You have all seen this yourselves. Why then this meaningless talk? Here is the fate God allows to the wicked, the heritage a ruthless man receives from the Almighty. However many his children, their fate is the sword. His offspring will never have enough to eat. The plague will bury those who survive him, and their widows will not weep for them. Though he heaps up silver like dust, and clothes like piles of clay, what he raises up the righteous will wear, and the innocent will divide his silver. The house he builds is like a moss's cocoon, like a hut made by a watchman. He lies down wealthy, but will do so no more. When he opens his eyes, all is gone. Terrors overtake him like a flood. A tempest snatches him away in the night. The east wind carries him off, and he is gone. It sweeps him out of his place. It hurls itself against him without mercy. As he flees headlong from his power, it claps its hands in decision, and he sees him out of his places. Interlude, where wisdom is found. Chapter 28. There is a mine for silver, And a place where gold is refined, iron is taken from the earth, and copper is smelted from ore. Mortals put an end to the darkness. They search out the farthest recesses for ore in the blackest darkness. Far from human dwelling, they cut a shaft in places untouched by human feet. Buy from other people, they dangle and sway. The earth from which food comes is transformed below as by fire. Lapis lazuli comes from its rocks, and its dust contains nuggets of gold. No bird of prey knows that hidden path. No falcon's eyes has seen it. Proud beasts do not set food on it, and no lion prowls there. People assault the flinty rock with their hands, and lay bare the roots of the mountains. They tunnel through the rock. Their eyes see all its treasures. They search the sources of the rivers and bring hidden things to light. But where can wisdom be found? Where does understanding dwell? No mortal comprehends its worth. It cannot be found in the land of the living. The deep says, "It is not in me." The sea says, "It is not within me." It cannot be bought with the finest gold, nor can its price be weighed out in silver. It cannot be bought with the gold of Ophir, with precious onyx or lapis lazuli. Neither gold nor crystal can compare with it. Nor can it be had for jewels of gold. Coral and jaspers are not worthy of mentions. The price of wisdom is beyond the rubies. The topaz of Kusi cannot compare with it. It cannot be brought in with pure gold. Where then does wisdom come from? Where does understanding dwell? It is hidden from the eyes of every living thing, concealed even from the birds in the sky. Destruction and death say, only a rumor of it has reached our ears. God understands the way to it, and He alone knows where it dwells, for He views the angel of the earth and sees everything under the heavens. When He established the process of the wind and measured out the waters, when He made a decree for the rain and a path for the thunderstorm, then He looked at wisdom and appraised it. He confirmed it and tested it. And He said to the human race, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to shun evil is understanding. Job's final defense, chapter 29. Job continued his discourse. How I long for the months gone by, for the days when God watches over me, when His lamps shone on my head, and by His right I walked through darkness. Oh, for the days when I was in prime, when God's intimate friendship blessed my house. When the Almighty was still with me, and my children were around me, when my path was drenched with cream, and rock poured out for me streams of olive oil. When I went to the gate of the city and took my seat in the public square, the young men saw me and stepped aside, and the old men rose to their feet. The chief men refrained from speaking and covered their mouths with their hands. The voices of the nobles were hushed, and their tongues stuck to the roof of their mouths. Whoever heard me spoke well of me, and those who saw me commended me. Because I rescued the poor who cried for help, and the fatherless who had none to assist them. The one who dying blessed me, I made the widow's heart sing. I put no righteousness as my clothing. Justice was my robe and my turban. I was eyes to the blind and feet to the lame. I was father to the needy. I took up the case of the stranger. I broke the pangs of the wicked and snatched the victims from their teeth. I thought I will die in my own house. My days are numerous as the grains of sand. My roots will reach to the water, and the dew will lie all night on my branches. My glory will not fade. The bow will be ever new in my hand. People listen to me expectantly, waiting in silence for my counsel. After I had spoken, they spoke no more. My words fell gently on their ears. They waited for me as for showers and drank in my words as the spring rain. When I smiled at them, they scarcely believed it. The light of my face was precious to them. I chose the way for them and sat as their chief. I dwelt as a king among his troops. I was like one who comforts mourners. Chapter 30. But now they mock me, men younger than I, whose fathers I would have disdained to put with my sheepdogs. Of what use was the strength of their hands to me, since their vigor had gone from them? Haggard from want and hunger, they roamed the parties land in desolate waste land at night. In the brush they gathered salt herbs, and their food was the root of the bloom bush. They were banished from human society, shouted as if they were thieves. They were forced to live in the dry stream beds among the rocks and in holes in the ground. They brayed among the bushes and huddled in the undergrowth. Of waste and nameless blood, they were driven out of the land. And now those young men mocked me in song. I have become a byword among them. They detest me and keep their distance. They do not hesitate to spit in my faces. Now that God has unstrung my bows and afflicted me, there is no of restraint in my presence. On my right, the tribe attacks. They raise snares for my feet. They build their siege lamps against me. They break up my load. They succeeded in destroying me. No one can help him, they say. They advance as through a gaping breach. Amid the ruins they come rolling in. Terrors overwhelm me. My dignity is driven away as by the wind. My safety vanishes like a cloud. And now my life ebbs away. Days of suffering grieve me. Night pierces my bones. My growing pains never rest. In his great power, God becomes like loathing to me. He binds me like the neck of my garment. He throws me into the mud, and I am reduced to the dust and ashes. I cry out to you, God, but you do not answer. I stand up, but you merely look at me. You turn on me ruthlessly. With the might of your hand, you attack me. You snatch me up and drive me about the wind. You toss me about in the storm. I know you will bring me down to death, to the place appointed for all the things. Surely no one lays a hand on a broken man when he cries for help in his distress. Have I not wept for those in trouble? Has not my soul grieved for the poor? Yet when I hope for good, evil came. When I looked for light, then came darkness. The churning inside me never stops. The days of suffering compel me. I go about blackened, but not by the sun. I stand in the assembly and cry for help. I have become a brother of Zacchaeus, a companion of all. My skin grows black and feels. My body burns with fever. My lyre is turned to mourning, and my pipe to the sound of wailing. Chapter 31. I made a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully at a young woman. For what is our lot from God above, our heritage from the Almighty on high? Is it not ruin for the wicked, disaster for those who do wrong? Does he not see my ways and count my every step? If I have walked with a pursuit or my food has hurried after deceit, let God weigh me in how honest scales, and he will know that I am blameless. If my steps have turned from the path, if my heart has been led by my eyes, or if my hands have been defiled, then may others eat what I have sown, and may my crops be unrooted. If my heart has been enticed by a woman, or if I have looked at my neighbor's door, then may my wife grind another man's grain, and may other men sleep with her. For what would have been wicked or sin to be judged? It is a fire that burns to destruction. It would have uprooted my harvest. If I have denied justice to any of my servants, whether male or female, when they had a grievance against me, what will I do when God confronts me? What will I answer when called to account? Did not he who made me in the womb make them? Did not the same one form us both within our mothers? If I have denied the desire of the poor, or let the eyes of the widows grow weary, if I have kept my bread to myself, not sharing it with the fathers, for from my youth I reared them as a father would have, and from my birth I guided the window. If I have seen anyone perishing for lack of clothing or the need without garment, and their hearts did not bless me for warming them with the fleece from my hip, if I have raised my hand against the fatherless, knowing that I had knowing that 어딨냐? Knowing that I had influence in quote, then let my arm fall from the shoulders, let it be broken off at the joint. For I dreaded destruction from God, and for fear of his splendor I could not do such things. If I put my trust in gold, or said to pure gold, you are my secret, if I have rejoiced over my great wealth, the fortune my hands had gained, if I have regarded the sun in its radiance, or the moon moving in splendor, so that my heart was secretly enticed and my hand offered them a kiss of homage, then these also would be sins to be judged. For I would have been unfaithful to God on high, if I have rejoiced at my enemy's misfortune, or gloated over the trouble that came to him. I have now allowed my mouth to sin by invoking a curse against their life. If those of my household have never said, who has not been filled with Job's meat? But no stranger had to spend the night in the street, for my doors was always open to the travelers. If I have concealed my sin as people do, I hide my guilt in my heart, because I so feared the crowd and so dreaded the contempt of the clans, that I kept silent and would not go outside. Oh, that I had someone to hear me, I sighed. Oh, my defense, let the Almighty answer me. Let my accuser put his indictment in writing. Sure, I would wear it on my shoulder. I would put it on the or like a crown. I would give him an account of my every steps. I would present it to him as to a ruler. If my land is cries out against me, and all its floors are wet with tears, if I have devoured its yield without payment, or broken the spirit of its tenant, then her labourers come up instead of with, and stingweed instead of berry. The words of Job are ended. The words of Job are ended. Amen.